If you knew that a single sentence, just one carefully chosen sentence, could make her heart beat faster and stay in her memory for years, would you still waste your time using weak compliments like, "You're beautiful," or "Nice outfit"? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Most men have absolutely no idea how much power their words actually carry. They assume attraction is mainly about looks, money, status, or success. But the truth is much deeper than that. What truly separates you from everyone else is how you make her feel. And here's where everything changes. One of the most underrated tools a man possesses is a well-timed compliment. Think about it for a moment. Have you ever watched a woman's entire mood shift because of something a man said? One sentence, delivered the right way, can completely change how she sees you. Not just for a few minutes, but for years to come. Today, I'm going to break down 8 powerful compliments that go far beyond shallow flattery. These aren't needy lines or desperate attempts to get attention. These are psychologically powerful compliments that tap into something much deeper, making her feel genuinely understood, appreciated, and emotionally drawn toward you. And here's the harsh reality. If you're constantly throwing out generic compliments like confetti, saying things such as, "You're gorgeous," "Cute dress," or "You're so hot," then you're simply becoming another forgettable guy in her messages. But if you understand the Stoic approach to attraction and influence, the importance of self-control, intentional communication, and quiet confidence, you'll discover something important. The real power isn't only in what you say, it's in how you say it and, more importantly, how your words make her feel. So if you're ready to elevate your game, separate yourself from every other man, and leave an impression she won't forget, keep watching. But before we begin, take a second to subscribe if you're serious about improving your relationships through the principles of Stoicism. Every video is another step toward mastering your mindset and building stronger, deeper connections with the people around you. Compliment number 1. That perfume you're wearing is absolutely addictive. It smells incredible. Let's start with something surprisingly powerful: fragrance. Most men completely overlook it, but if you understand the deeper psychology of attraction, you'll realize something fascinating. A woman's scent is one of the strongest triggers of memory and desire. Think about your own life. How many times has a certain smell instantly transported you back to a specific memory? Maybe a summer evening. Maybe an embrace from someone you cared about. Maybe a moment that felt frozen in time. There's a reason for that. Scent is directly connected to the brain's limbic system, the area responsible for emotion and memory. So when you compliment a woman's fragrance, you're doing far more than saying, "You smell good." You're communicating something much deeper. You're telling her that her presence stays with you even after she's gone. And that's an incredibly powerful thought for any woman. But here's the reality. Most men never pay attention to details. They rely on surface-level compliments like, "You look nice," or "That's a pretty dress." Meanwhile, the man who notices how she smells, the feeling her fragrance creates, and the subtle effect it has on him, instantly stands apart from the crowd. Why? Because he's paying attention, he's present, he's observant, and most importantly, he's different. This is where Stoicism comes into play. A Stoic man understands that words carry weight. He doesn't speak simply to fill silence. He doesn't throw compliments around hoping for attention. Every word he uses is deliberate. Every compliment has purpose. Every statement carries meaning. So when you say, "That perfume you're wearing is addictive," say it calmly. Say it with confidence. Not with neediness, not with desperation. Say it like a man who knows his value and has nothing to prove. And when you do that, watch how her body language changes. Watch how her expression shifts. Because she'll remember that moment. Not only that day, but every time she wears that fragrance again. That's not just attraction. That's psychological association. Compliment number 2. Your smile could light up an entire room. Let's talk about this one because it's far more powerful than most men realize. A smile isn't simply a facial expression. It's energy, it's presence. It's something that can completely change the atmosphere of a room the moment someone walks inside. When you tell a woman, your smile could light up an entire room, you're not just complimenting her lips or her teeth. You're recognizing the effect she has on people. You're telling her that her presence matters, that her energy influences the environment around her. Think about it. Have you ever been in a room that felt tense, stressful, awkward, or disconnected, only for someone to walk in smiling genuinely and suddenly everything felt lighter? That's not just charm. That's influence. That's power. And this is what separates an average man from an emotionally intelligent one. The average man notices appearances. He says things like, "You look beautiful. Nice smile. You're attractive." But an observant, stoic man notices something deeper. He notices the impact that smile has on everyone around her. Because a smile that genuinely makes people feel comfortable, a smile that feels like sunshine entering a dark room, is rare. And when you point that out, when you tell her she lights up the room with her smile, you're communicating something powerful. You're saying, "I don't just notice how you look, I notice what you bring into every space you enter." That's more than a compliment. That's recognition. And recognition is something people never forget. Here's the harsh truth. Most men never notice these kinds of things. They're so focused on appearances that they completely overlook the energy a woman brings into a room. But her smile isn't just part of her beauty, it's part of her influence. And when you recognize that, when you genuinely appreciate it, you're demonstrating a level of emotional awareness that most men simply don't possess. Now let's connect this back to Stoicism. A Stoic man understands the importance of energy and presence. He doesn't need to be the loudest voice in the room to command respect. His strength comes from calm confidence, intention, and self-control. And because of that, when he gives a compliment, it lands differently. It carries weight. So when you notice something as subtle yet powerful as her smile and acknowledge it sincerely, she'll feel it. She'll feel understood. And let's be honest, who wouldn't want to hear that their presence alone can positively change an entire environment? That's not something women hear every day, and that's exactly why it stays with them. It's authentic, it's uncommon, and it's memorable. Compliment number 3. I love how authentic you are. You never try to be someone else. Let's be completely honest for a moment. We live in a world full of filters. And I'm not just talking about social media. I'm talking about real life. People constantly wear masks. They adjust themselves to fit in. They become whatever they think others want them to be. But authenticity? Authenticity is rare, and in today's world, it's almost rebellious. When you tell a woman, "I love how authentic you are," you're doing much more than giving her a compliment. You're acknowledging one of the bravest decisions a person can make, the decision to be themselves without apology. Think about that. While society rewards conformity and often punishes honesty, she chooses to remain genuine. She chooses to be real, unfiltered, unpolished, completely herself. And that's incredibly attractive. In fact, it's magnetic. Because here's something many people fail to understand. Women hear compliments about their appearance all the time. You're beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're stunning, you're sexy. Those compliments are common. But when a man notices something deeper and says, "I admire how genuine you are," it creates a completely different emotional response. Because now you're not admiring the image, you're admiring the person. You're saying, "I see who you really are beneath everything else, and that's what I respect. And that carries far more meaning. Let's go even deeper. Authenticity isn't always neat. It isn't always attractive in the conventional sense. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes it's imperfect. Sometimes it's controversial. But it's always real, and real will always have more power than perfect. From a Stoic perspective, this is incredibly valuable. A Stoic man values truth above trends. He chooses authenticity over approval. He stays aligned with who he truly is, rather than chasing acceptance from the crowd. And when he recognizes that same quality in someone else, he naturally respects it. That's why this compliment is so powerful. You're not just being nice, you're being honest. You're telling her that she doesn't need to become someone different to earn your admiration. The person she already is enough. And trust me, in a world full of people pretending to be something they're not, that kind of recognition means more than most people realize. Compliment number 4. I love the way you see the world. It's unique and genuinely makes me think. Let's face reality. Most people move through life on autopilot. They repeat the same opinions, follow the same routines, accept the same ideas, and blend into a crowd that all thinks the same way. But every once in a while, you meet someone different. Someone who questions things. Someone who looks beyond the obvious. Someone who sees possibilities where others only see limitations. And that's incredibly attractive. When you tell a woman, I love the way you see the world, you're doing much more than saying something poetic. You're recognizing her perspective, her mindset, her way of interpreting life. You're acknowledging the lens through which she views the world, not based on what's popular, not based on what's trendy, but based on what feels meaningful and true to her. And that's powerful. What you're really saying is this: I value the way your mind works. Your thoughts matter to me. The way you see things inspires me. In a culture obsessed with appearances, social validation, and following the crowd, that kind of recognition is extremely rare. And that's why it hits so deeply. Here's the reality. Most men focus on what's visible: her appearance, her clothing, her beauty, her vibe. But the moment you begin noticing what's happening beneath the surface, the way she thinks, the way she processes life, the way she finds meaning in experiences, the conversation moves to an entirely different level. It becomes deeper, it becomes more meaningful, and it becomes far more memorable. Because now you're telling her something most men never do. You're saying, I'm not only attracted to how you look, I'm genuinely fascinated by how you think. And that changes everything. Because at that point, she no longer sees you as just another man trying to impress her. She sees you as someone who is genuinely interested in understanding her perspective, someone who values her intellect, someone who appreciates her depth. And that kind of connection is difficult to forget. Now let's connect this to Stoicism. A Stoic man doesn't blindly follow the crowd. He questions, he reflects, he values clarity, wisdom, and the courage to think independently. So when you give a woman this compliment, you're aligning yourself with those same principles. You're recognizing her ability to think for herself. You're appreciating her perspective. You're honoring her depth in a world filled with noise and surface-level conversations. And here's the best part. When you tell her, the way you see the world really makes me think, you're doing more than complimenting her. You're inviting her to open up. You're encouraging deeper conversations. You're creating a connection that goes beyond attraction and reaches into emotional intimacy, all without ever touching her. Because you're connecting where it matters most, the mind. And trust me, that's the type of compliment that stays with a woman. Not for a few hours, not for a few days, but sometimes for years. Because while most men focus only on beauty, you chose to acknowledge depth. And that's the difference between being forgettable and becoming unforgettable. Compliment number 5. I love your energy. It's contagious. It inspires me to be a better version of myself. Let's talk about something many people underestimate: energy. Whether people realize it or not, energy affects everything. You've experienced it before. Some people walk into a room and immediately drain it. You can't always explain why, but their presence feels heavy, negative, exhausting. And then there are people who have the opposite effect. People who walk into a room and instantly elevate it. People whose presence makes everyone around them feel better. That's exactly the type of woman we're talking about here. When you tell her, "Your energy makes me want to become better," you're giving her one of the most meaningful compliments possible. Because you're saying something deeper than attraction. You're saying, "You inspire growth. You bring out the best in me. You make me want to rise higher." And that's infinitely more powerful than simply saying she's attractive. Here's the reality. Life is too short to surround yourself with people who constantly pull you backward. You need people who push you forward, people who challenge you, people who inspire you through the way they live. And when a woman carries that kind of positive energy, she deserves to know it. From a Stoic perspective, this is incredibly important. A Stoic man is committed to growth. He surrounds himself with people who sharpen his character, people who challenge him to improve, people who push him beyond comfort and toward excellence. So when you compliment her energy, you're not merely acknowledging her personality. You're recognizing her impact. You're acknowledging the influence she has on your life. She's not simply enjoyable to be around. She's someone who elevates your potential. That's not flattery. That's respect. Because her presence isn't just affecting your emotions, it's influencing your direction. So when you say it, mean it. I love your energy. It makes me want to become the best version of myself. Because when a woman hears that, she understands something important. She's not only desired, she's admired. And those are two very different things. Compliment number 6. You're honestly one of the most thoughtful people I've ever met. You genuinely care about others, and it shows. Let's be real. In a world full of self-promotion, fake personalities, and performative kindness, genuine thoughtfulness has become rare. Everyone wants to appear good. Very few people actually focus on being good. So when you tell a woman, "You're one of the most thoughtful people I've ever met," you're cutting through all the noise and recognizing something that often goes unnoticed. You're not complimenting what she has. You're complimenting who she is. You're noticing the little things, the way she remembers details from conversations, the way she checks on people when she doesn't have to, the way she goes out of her way to make someone feel seen, appreciated, and understood. And that speaks to character. Anyone can be attractive. Anyone can be funny. Anyone can be charming. But genuine kindness? That's rare. Most men become so focused on attraction that they overlook what truly creates lasting connection: character. Thoughtful people give more than they take. They nurture, they support, they protect. They don't simply occupy space in a room. They improve it. And when you acknowledge that, when you tell her that her thoughtfulness is obvious, you're communicating something powerful. You're saying, "I see your heart. I see your effort. I see the good you bring into the lives of others." That's the kind of compliment that reaches someone at their core. From a Stoic perspective, this matters deeply. The Stoics valued virtue above vanity. They believed character mattered more than charm. They taught that integrity is the foundation of a meaningful life. So when you compliment a woman for her thoughtfulness, you're doing more than making her feel appreciated. You're honoring qualities that truly matter. You're recognizing empathy. You're recognizing kindness. You're recognizing strength expressed through compassion. And trust me, she'll never forget the man who noticed those things. Compliment number 7. I admire how driven you are. Your sense of purpose is genuinely inspiring. Let's talk about ambition, the force that separates people who drift through life from those who create something meaningful. In today's world of distractions, shortcuts, and instant gratification, finding someone with genuine drive is becoming increasingly rare. It's like discovering hidden treasure. So when you tell a woman, "I admire how driven you are," you're doing much more than boosting her confidence. You're acknowledging her mission. You're recognizing her dedication. You're saying, "I see your effort. I respect your discipline. I understand the sacrifices you're making to pursue something bigger." That's not flattery. That's recognition. You're not simply noticing what she's doing. You're appreciating the mindset behind it. And that's what makes this compliment so powerful. Driven people aren't usually seeking attention. They're too focused on building something meaningful, which means when someone genuinely recognizes their dedication, it matters. Especially to a woman who's constantly being told to slow down, settle, or lower her ambitions. When you tell her that her purpose inspires you, you're doing more than encouraging her. You're becoming someone who understands her vision, and that's rare. Finally, compliment number 8. You have an incredible ability to make people feel comfortable, appreciated, and valued. Let's talk about emotional intelligence, one of the most powerful qualities a person can possess. It's a quiet strength, a strength that can't be faked. The ability to make others feel understood, safe, and important simply through your presence. Some people walk into a room and demand attention, but a rare few walk into a room and create connection. When you tell a woman that she makes people feel valued, you're speaking directly to something much deeper than appearance. You're acknowledging her presence, her empathy, her ability to make others feel like they matter. And in a world where so many people feel invisible, that's a remarkable gift. The truth is that most people don't know how to hold space for others. They're too distracted by their own insecurities, too busy trying to prove themselves, too focused on being heard rather than understanding others. But she's different. She listens. She adapts. She cares. She lifts people up. And when you recognize that, you're telling her something powerful. You're saying, "Your presence makes people's lives better." From a Stoic perspective, this represents one of the highest virtues. The Stoics taught empathy, presence, purpose, the ability to understand before speaking, to connect without judgment. And when you compliment a woman for that emotional intelligence, you're acknowledging something increasingly rare: grace. And grace is unforgettable. And there you have it, 8 powerful compliments that go far beyond surface-level flattery. These aren't just lines, they're bridges to deeper connection, genuine respect, and lasting attraction. Because a woman may forget the exact words you used, but she'll never forget how those words made her feel. If you found these compliments valuable, you're going to love what's coming next. Click on the video appearing on your screen now. No woman can resist these 7 good morning texts. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. And before you go, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. Type, "Words have power and I know how to use them." Let's see who's truly paying attention. Because we're not here to be average. We're here to master connection, one intentional word at a time.